Let's begin with the attacks on Indians in the United States. It's continuing. Now a 39-year-old Sikh man, Deep Rai, has been shot and injured in Washington State, allegedly by a white racist man. 3 days ago, 43-year-old Harnish Patel was shot there in front of his home in South Carolina. An Indian origin girl has been racially abused in a train in New York. And we all know what happened to Indian techie Srinivas Kuchibhotla in Kansas. The question, how safe is Trump's America for Indians? Here's the story. We're coming back for a debate after this.
First it was Srinivas Kuchibhotla. Then it was Harnish Patel. And now it's Deep Rai. 3 hate attacks in less than a fortnight in the United States of hate, also known as Trumpistan.
Well, this is not the only incident wherein a person of Indian origin has been attacked in United States of America. Last month only, an Indian origin engineer was shot dead in Kansas City by a U.S. Navy veteran.
Being a victim of a hate crime, I mean, I've been here a long time and we haven't seen something happening at this level. Don't be scared. Just because we've been through one incident it shouldn't hold us back.
We condemn these acts. And at the same time, the Government of India and the Ministry of External Affairs is seized to the matter, and whatever is required to be done from the Government of India in consultation with the US government, the Government of India is doing it.
Indians are being repeatedly attacked, and that too fatally. This matter needs to be taken up seriously and at the highest level by India in order to restore the confidence of the Indian community in America.
And if Trump's administration still needed proof of the rising hate against Indians, this video is all that it needs.
Can you take my picture out that phone?
You touch me,
Can you take that picture out that
and you
phone?
see.
Don't
touch me, don't touch my
Can you
item.
take my picture out that phone?
Stay away.
Take my picture out that phone?
Because that's disrespect. You don't take nobody's picture. Disrespect.
He blocks Indians from entering United States, while his minions spread the get out of America hate. To ensure that Indian lives matter, is it time for the NRI community to consider a Ghar Wapsi? Bureau Report, NewsX.
Alright, this simple question we're asking in this debate now. The question, how safe is Trump's America for Indians? We have with us Professor Sumit Ganguly, Professor of Political Science at the University of Indiana in the United States. He's joining us via Skype from there. Bharat Karnad, Professor of National Security Studies at CPR, Delhi. Stefania Kejero, student of MA Politics and International Relations at the Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi. Arvind Gupta, spokesperson of the BJP, is joining us from Delhi. And C.R. Kesavan, national spokesperson of the Congress Party, he's joining us live from Chennai. Professor Ganguly, in the United States, there are 3 million Indians living in the U.S. How are they feeling in Trump's America today?
Well, these incidents are deeply disturbing, and they have come with considerable frequency, especially after Trump's assumption of office. And obviously, this is of grave concern to those of us of Indian origin or South Asian origin, because the administration seems to be turning a blind eye to these incidents. And that is extremely worrisome to many of us.
You're saying they're turning a blind eye. I mean, this is interesting. Let me put this to Stefania Kajera as well. Stefania, when Donald Trump became president, Muslims, Mexicans, Arabs, Pakistanis, they were also very jittery. But how much are Indians now waking up from their slumber on this count in the United States now?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was, as I said last time, it was like something that we were already going to see. Like even Trump, since he started his campaign, we actually see that it was a campaign based on hatred. And now again, we have another case of an Indian. I mean, obviously we know that this is not the first time that these kind of actions, of violations have been happening in U.S. They have actually been happening since a long time ago. It's just now
but I'm making the specific point that a lot of Indians thought that it would probably be all right under Donald Trump. But you see, it seems to be that a lot of people in India and Indians in the United States are now beginning to wonder that are Indians safe in the United States anymore?
Yeah, but I mean, like we also have like to ask the Indians. I mean, I have a lot of Indian friends here, and I mean, I also have Indian friends studying in US, and I even asked like a few friends here in India, like, okay, after hearing all the terrible events that are happening now in US, there are already 2 Indians killed. Would you go to US and study, or would you go to US and work? And they actually told me, yeah, I will go because education is really good. I will go because they pay me good, like in US, but I will not feel secure.
All right. Arvind Gupta from the BJP.
Really
I mean, let me put this to you because, you know, Donald Trump may have said during his campaign that I love India, I love Hindu. But, you know, I mean, how does a racist on the road in America care whether, you know, it's an Indian or an Arab, a Hindu or a Muslim? I mean, you know, for him, we're all brown, we're outsiders.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was, I think...
The question is from Mr. Arvind Gupta from the BJP.
No doubt that...
because it was like a
Yeah.
campaign.
Yeah.
It was his campaign, and so obviously he was going to say that he loved
Yeah,
India.
Jujar, see, the point is America, what my co-panelist was saying before me, has seen this kind of crimes, targeted crimes, and against Indians also in the past. I mean, there was in the mid-90s, late 80s, I think something called the Dot Busters. And I think, you know, while there is a lot of that had gone down with the you know, very good assimilation of the Indians, South Asians in the American society, I think we definitely are seeing a comeback of I hope so not the memories of the past right now. And but while having said that, there is a lot of diversity in America. You know, there is the East Coast, there is the West Coast, and where a lot of Indians work, and they're very, very diverse cultures.
But you are feeling a little bit worried now.
I just hope that, and you know, we do pray. Oh, of course, I think there is a concern, and the External Affairs Ministry to the Foreign Secretary, everybody has been raising these issues. There is a concern, and we should all be concerned.
Well,
See, after all, Indians
we'll talk about how successful they've been by raising these issues. But let me ask Mr. Kesavan from the Congress Party. You know, Mr. Kesavan, Donald Trump again during the campaign had said that if he's elected president, the Indian community, the Hindu community will find a true friend in the White House. But, you know, I mean, look at it this way. I mean, Donald Trump has made no comment on the latest attacks on Indians the last few days. And even after the killing of Srinivas Kuchibhotla, it took him 6 days to say something. And then also he just added one line in his speech to the U.S. Congress on that.
Jujar, that's a very important point you raised, Jujar, and even when he spoke in the Congress, he never mentioned Mr. Srinivas Kuchibhotla's name. He mentioned it alongside, you know, the carnage which happened with the Jewish cemetery. So I just wonder one thing, Jujar. Imagine, you know, you talked about the unfortunate incident of Srinivas, and then, you know, Harnish Patel, you know, Ekta Desai being bullied in the... Let me ask you a question. If these victims were white, and then, you know, and the killers were non-white, would he react, you know, would he have reacted the same way? The problem is Mr. Trump with his, you know, message of division and hate is taking the term White House a little too literally. See, the problem is it's a very tinderbox of combustible mix of, you know, hate, distrust and xenophobia, which has been the, you know, spirit of Mr. Trump's campaign, along with ignorance, you know, about the general ignorance and also gun laws. See, the issue is this, Jujar, it is very clear that these are hate crimes, these are crimes of bigotry. And I think Mr. Trump has to come down, as the Commander-in-Chief, he has to come down with a strong message which has to calm nerves, which has to send a reassuring signal to this land of immigrants.
But you know what the problem over here is, let me put this to Mr. Bharat Karnad. Mr. Karnad, what's worrying is this.
The way he talks about
that,
you know, it is not strong enough. I think unless it comes from Mr. Trump.
Mr. Karnad, what's worrying is this. Number one, President Trump took 6 days to comment on the case of Srinivas, despite it becoming a high-profile case in the United States itself. And number two, even after condemning that incident, he said that by enforcing immigration laws, we're going to raise wages, and we're going to make our communities safer. In other words, he was feeding the idea that it's the immigrants who are causing law and order problems. My question to you is that how much is Donald Trump creating a climate of fear for Indians and outsiders in general in the United States?
No, I don't think it's a targeted scheme to, in some sense, make Indians or South Asians uncomfortable. The problem, I think, is he is against outsiders. Yeah. Now, his justification is that we welcome people with merit into the country, wherever they are from, but there are lots of illegals and so on. So there's a conflation of great many issues. Illegal immigration, the crime committed by illegal immigrants, and then you have the general situation of shall we say, disaffection in the American society. You combine all that, and with his rhetoric, campaign rhetoric, and now in the White House, his pronouncements in a way, shall we say, legitimate that kind of antipathy to immigrants or non-whites generally. So any outsider, as has been said before, an average American cannot distinguish a Middle Easterner from an Indian, from a Pakistani, from anybody else. To him, a Sikh with a turban or with long hair is just as problematic as anything else. So, it's not a nuance.
Arvind Gupta from the BJP wants to come in over here.
It is across the kind of spectrum kind of discrimination.
Yes, Mr. Gupta, yes.
Yeah, see, Jujar, what the professor is saying, there's a point of mistaken identity, a lot of confusion in a lot of parts of America. They can't distinguish between, a lot of different people who are similar skinned in color. We saw this, as I said, in the 90s, but we also saw this after the 9/11 attack. A lot of people I know personally who were harassed and were attacked were similar looking to what they thought were the perpetrators of the 9/11 attack. So I think there is a reason to be worried. We need to condemn it. We need to speak about it. But I also feel that this is happening in a very, very sporadic way. There is no institutional support to it. Neither there is an institutional mechanism right now that it's being spread right that. So I think the Indian community
but
has
Mr. Gupta, it doesn't have to be institutional.
Very clear message.
You have a president who on a very high profile killing even inside the United States took 6 days to comment on it.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah. And he's had no reaction to the latest attacks on the
just understand what I'm trying to say. The message is, so the message I'm trying to say is we as Indian communities in the US, the diaspora has to come together and has to come together and give a message of peace that we have always done as Indians in America.
Yeah, Mr.
And
Kesavan,
that is our message always.
Yeah, Mr. Kesavan wanted to come in as well, yes.
Jujar, see, I just want to reiterate one thing. See what that, the perpetrator of the crimes, both in the case of Mr. Srinivas and Mr. Preetrai said. He said, get out of my country.
That's right.
The problem is, how do they know who is a legal immigrant, who is not an illegal immigrant, who is documented, who is not documented?
Because it's not about what is legal or illegal.
Correctly, there were
it's about racism, that's it.
Think about 165,000 students.
Yeah.
No, think about, let me complete. Think about the 165,000 students in colleges. Colleges are a very, dynamic, I went to school in America. I visit there very often, and colleges are places where there is, high tensions and emotions run high. And how do our, people, how do they say that the onus is on Indians? The onus is on this administration to ensure that, that a message of unity and a message of calm and reassurance is sent out, and he should send a strong message that please distinguish between who is a legal immigrant, who is not a legal immigrant, and if somebody is an illegal immigrant.
But Mr. Kesavan, the point over here is that for a racist person on the street,
use guns.
It's not really about who's legal or who's illegal. He doesn't like the idea that the person in front of him is brown or black or whatever, It's Professor Ganguly, let me ask you, because you're in the United
but
States.
No, but the justification by the administration, Jujar, is that he is attacking illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
And the problem is everybody en masse is being targeted. And these people have, I agree, even Mr. Dalbir Singh was an unfortunate victim in 2011. Even in 2013, there was an attack on a Gurudwara. But then the president of, Obama then condemned the killings. Here there is no condemnation at the highest level. It looks like he is, keeping mum and all these things are happening, and that is the worry and that is the difference. It's high time the Indian government puts in a strong message to Mr. Trump and ensure that he reassures the Indian community in America, and that is the need of the hour.
Professor Sumit Ganguly, you're in the United States. Let me ask you, how safe is Trump's America for Indians? What are the Indians over there saying?
Well, it's difficult to tell what all Indians think because there have been no public opinion surveys that have been conducted in the wake of these attacks. But it is quite clear that there is a climate that is making us fearful. I have never fretted going through a security line at an airport, but for the first time I have started to fret about these matters. It is ridiculous that on one occasion in the course of the past couple of weeks, people were actually asked for identification papers well beyond their driving licenses at an airport. And this is completely unconscionable. And what is deeply disturbing is that the President is maintaining a stunning silence. In the past, there is no question.
But you're saying, Professor Ganguly, that this is happening more since Trump has become president?
Accurately mentioned, have taken place, but they have been met with firm on the White House downwards. On this occasion, there is this deafening silence by this president, and on top of that, we have an attorney general who is an avowed racist. And consequently, I'm afraid that we are in a very different social climate today.
Yeah, all right. Okay, but Professor Ganguly, I was asking you that you were giving the incident about the airport where more than the necessary identification papers were being asked for. Now, is this happening more after Trump became president?
This is the first time, at least in my memory, that it has happened ever in the United States. I don't recall even after 9/11, when there was clear racial profiling, that anybody was asked for anything more than a driving license.
All right.
I know this
Yeah.
for a fact because I was racially profiled, traveling with my wife and daughter, and my wife is of Irish-American origin. My wife and daughter were never pulled out for extra security checks, but I was routinely pulled out. And on one occasion in Chicago, I actually protested quite vehemently, saying I'm an American citizen and I do not take kindly to being selected on what seems to be a random select, but obviously is not. So,
And what is the response you got?
Asking people for further documentation beyond one's driving license is something quite novel. This has not happened before, despite the obvious evidence of racial profiling.
All right, okay. Just very quickly, I've got some statistics over here. The Southern Poverty Law Center has said that in the month since Donald Trump won the election, there have been 1,000 reports of hate incidents in the U.S. Then the Council on American Islamic Relations says while 400 hate crimes happened in 2016 in the U.S., there are already over 175 in 2017. Stefano, very quickly, what do you say to this? Stefano, are you there? Can you hear me? All right, looks like we've lost the line. Let's take one quick question from Mr. Arvind Gupta from the ruling BJP over there. So, Mr. Gupta, the Foreign Secretary, Mr. Jaishankar, was in the US. He raised this issue. He got apologies, he got regrets, but the attacks are continuing. What more can the government of India do now?
I think the government is, as everybody has said, is cognizant at the highest levels. There is bilateral talks going on, but I think if you take the emotion out of it, we condemn, all of us condemn this. You have to recognize that for President Trump, he has a very skeleton staff right now. He has hardly appointed the big team around him. So while the foreign secretary is there, he's talking to his counterparts, the people who are currently in position. The whole South Asia team has not been put in place. So I think Trump's administration is really not ready yet. It's not fully staffed. It's a very skeleton team.
All right.
And
we're running out of time. I've got 30 seconds left. Let me put one final question to Bharat Karnad. Mr. Karnad, from Clinton to Bush to Obama, there was some sort of continuity and progress in the India-US relationship, but Donald Trump is obviously unpredictable. How much you believe that it will take time to build this particular equation and relationship? 20 seconds, please, Mr. Karnad.
Well, I think there's going to be a disjunction now. In some sense, I think the Modi government will have to begin anew in terms of establishing some kind of a modus vivendi with the Trump administration, because he's setting new metrics, as it were, for the relationship. And Washington isn't very clear, because the State Department isn't fully staffed. Their embassy here doesn't have an ambassador, and everything is in transition. And the Indian government doesn't seem to have any clues. The foreign secretary went there, Jaishankar went there, he made the noises, but then when he was asked whether the government had issued a démarche to the US government, it was strongly denied.
Right.
Now, when such things happen, a démarche is the next step. How many Indians would have to be killed before Delhi protests with a démarche? Démarche is a protest note, a diplomatic protest note.
Right.
So I think that's the next step, and you should take it.
All right. Okay. Well, obviously, the Trump administration has had several teething troubles, but looks like the US-India relationship is also going to these initial teething troubles. We'll obviously wait to see how this develops over the next few months, including when the PM visits Washington, D.C. as well in the next few months. We leave it over there for now. Thank you very much to all our guests for joining us. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, the election in UP is really hotting up. It's been a very exciting evening. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been in Varanasi in a massive roadshow over there, and this follows the huge roadshow of the Samajwadi Party and Congress Party yesterday as well. Why has Varanasi become the fulcrum of this last phase of elections in UP? We'll debate that with representatives from all the major political parties after this very short break.